Listen, I know that I'm in a bachelor's pad and that I've got the forearms of a Java man, but I gotta tell you, I'm married with children.
Married with Children stands out as a pioneering sitcom that veered off the traditional family portrayal path, delving into the unfiltered and chaotic life of the Bundy family. Notorious for its controversial themes and humor, the show also became known for its numerous bloopers and continuity issues, adding a layer of charm and authenticity that fans came to love. Despite, or perhaps because of, its edginess, the series amassed a dedicated fan base, intrigued by the show's boldness and entertained by the multitude of fun facts and behind-the-scenes stories that have emerged over the years. In this video, we're taking a look at some of the classic errors from the show, as well as some of its controversies. We'll also dive into some fun facts you might not know about this great sitcom. Join Facts First as we present This Photo's Not Edited. Look closer at the Married with Children blooper. Theme song switch. The theme song of Married with Children, Love and Marriage by Frank Sinatra is instantly recognizable and has become synonymous with the show. But this classic tune was not the producer's first choice. Initially, they wanted to use Blue Suede Shoes by Elvis Presley, hoping to capture the rebellious spirit of the Bundy family. Unfortunately, due to the high cost of licensing the song, the producers had to find a more affordable option. Love and Marriage was chosen for its ironic contrast to the show's portrayal of domestic bliss, adding an extra layer of humor to the sitcom's opening. The song, despite being the second choice, perfectly encapsulates the satirical tone of Married with Children and has contributed greatly to its lasting legacy. Live audience reaction. Unlike many sitcoms of its time and later, Married with Children opted for a raw and authentic approach to capturing audience reactions by filming in front of a live studio audience. This choice was integral to the show's identity, allowing for a genuine connection between the performers and their audience. The laughter, cheers, and occasionally gasps that viewers hear during episodes are not the product of a laugh track. They are real responses from people watching the scenes unfold in real time. This method not only enhanced the show's comedic timing, but also provided immediate feedback for the actors and writers, influencing performances and script adjustments on the fly. The decision to use a live audience contributed to the show's energetic and sometimes unpredictable atmosphere, making it a pioneer in creating a more interactive TV comedy experience. Original pilot cast change. Married with Children is known for its unforgettable characters, particularly the Bundy children, Kelly and Bud. But the actors who brought these characters to life, Christina Applegate and David Faustino, were not the first choices for these roles. In the unaired pilot of the show, Kelly and Bud were portrayed by Tina Caspary and Hunter Carson. The decision to recast these roles after the pilot was made by the producers, who felt that Applegate and Faustino would better embody the characters' personalities and dynamics within the Bundy family. This change proved pivotal for the show's success, as Applegate and Faustino's portrayals of Kelly and Bud became iconic, contributing significantly to the show's humor and appeal. International fame. Married with Children achieved an impressive feat for an American sitcom. It inspired several international versions, a testament to its universal appeal and the relatability of its humor and family dynamics. This global reach included adaptations in Argentina, Russia, and the United Kingdom, each with its own cultural spin on the Bundy family's antics. The Argentine version, titled Casados con Hijos, is particularly notable for its success and longevity, becoming a beloved part of the country's television landscape. Russia's version, called Happy Together, and the UK's pilot adaptation showcased the sitcom's versatile format, which could be tailored to fit different cultures while retaining the essence of the original show. No Emmy Wins. Despite its popularity, cultural impact, and pioneering role in television comedy, Married with Children never won an Emmy Award, though it did receive several nominations throughout its run. This lack of Emmy recognition can be attributed to various factors, including the show's controversial content and its departure from the traditional, more wholesome family sitcom format prevalent during its airing. The series was groundbreaking in its portrayal of a dysfunctional family and its embrace of edgier, more provocative humor, which may not have aligned with the tastes and preferences of Emmy voters at the time. The show's absence from the Emmy winners list, however, doesn't detract from its significance in television history. It remains a beloved classic, known for pushing boundaries and paving the way for more realistic and diverse portrayals of family life on TV. The Bundy Curse. The cast of Married with Children humorously referred to the Bundy Curse, a phenomenon they believe affected actors who appeared on the show, making it challenging for them to find success in other roles afterward. This notion stemmed from observation that many cast members, guest stars, and even main characters faced difficulties in securing prominent acting roles once the show ended. The curse suggests a type of typecasting or shadow cast by the strong identities that developed on the show, which could have hindered their opportunities in the diverse landscape of Hollywood roles. The notion of a curse, while not taken literally, speaks to the profound impact Married with Children had on the careers of those involved. And certainly the existence of shows like Modern Family, Sons of Anarchy, and Dead to Me showcase the flourishing careers that many of the cast members went on to have. Working title. The working title for Married with Children was Not the Cosbys, which was a clear nod to the stark contrast the creators aimed to establish between their show and The Cosby Show, a dominant sitcom of the 1980s that depicted an idealized African-American family led by a successful doctor and his lawyer wife. The Cosby Show was celebrated for its portrayal of a loving, successful family, and it became a cultural benchmark for family-oriented television. In contrast, Not the Cosbys was intended to showcase a more dysfunctional, less affluent, and decidedly less polished image of family life. This working title highlighted the creator's intention to subvert the traditional family sitcom formula, focusing instead on the comedic potential of a more relatable, flawed family dynamic. The eventual title, Married with Children, still managed to convey the show's unique take on the family sitcom genre, setting the stage for its success as a countercultural icon in television comedy. Crossover with other shows. Married with Children was notable for its crossovers with other TV shows, a unique aspect for a sitcom of its era. This included appearances of characters in shows such as Top of the Heap, a spin-off focused on characters introduced in Married with Children. There were also crossover moments with classics like The Jeffersons and Unhappily Ever After, which shared a similar comedic tone. These crossovers were not only fun for fans, but also expanded the universe of the show beyond the confines of the Bundy living room. They demonstrated the flexibility of the sitcom's characters and their ability to engage with wider narratives, enriching the viewing experience and creating a sense of interconnectedness among different television worlds. Anti-fan mail. During its initial seasons, Married with Children received a significant amount of anti-fan mail from viewers who were shocked or offended by its content. The show broke new ground with its irreverent humor and portrayal of a dysfunctional family, which was a stark departure from the idealized family models prevalent on television at the time. Some viewers expressed their disdain for what they saw as negative representations of family values, sending letters of complaint to the network. Ironically, this controversy only served to increase the show's popularity, a situation we'll get into in more details in a bit. Spin-off attempts. The success of Married with Children inspired several attempts to create spin-off series, aiming to capitalize on the original show's popularity by exploring the lives of secondary characters or related concepts. Notably, Top of the Heap, which featured a pre-Friends Matt LeBlanc, was the only spin-off that went to series, albeit briefly. It followed the adventures of a father and son aiming to rise above their lowly status, echoing the Bundys' own struggles, but without the same enduring appeal. Other planned spin-offs, including one focused on the character of Bud Bundy, were considered but ultimately never materialized into series. This reflected the challenge of capturing the original show's unique charm. Despite the potential for expanding the show's universe and exploring new comedic territory, these attempts largely did not move past the development stage. The challenges in capturing the unique charm and appeal of the original, combined with the task of developing new narratives that resonated with audiences as strongly, meant that none of these spin-offs achieved the same level of success or longevity. Al Bundy's Dodge. Al Bundy's car, a dilapidated 1971 Dodge, became an iconic symbol of the Bundy family's struggles and financial woes. The car's constant breakdowns and Al's refusal to replace it mirrored the show's theme of clinging to past glories and making do with less. The Dodge was more than just a vehicle, it was a character in its own right, representing the everyday battles and the perseverance of the average American family. No toilet flushing sounds. Married with Children was one of the first sitcoms to regularly feature bathroom scenes, a daring move at the time. But despite this boldness in setting, the show adhered to the television standards of its era by never including the sound of a flushing toilet. This decision underscored the delicate balance the show maintained between pushing boundaries in content and adhering to broadcast standards. Psycho Dad. A recurring gag within Married with Children was the fictional show Psycho Dad, which became a favorite of Al Bundy. This show within a show featured a theme song that fans of Married with Children came to know and love. Psycho Dad served as a comedic mirror, reflecting and amplifying Al's own frustrations and desires for escapism. Its exaggerated portrayal of a father dealing with his family and life's challenges in the most extreme ways was a source of humor and perhaps a satirical commentary on the portrayal of fatherhood in media. Nike lawsuit. The show faced legal challenges, notably from Nike, over its portrayal of women. Nike argued that associating its brand with the show's often controversial content could damage its image. The lawsuit was emblematic of the broader cultural battles the show found itself in, reflecting tensions between popular media and corporate brand sensibilities. The case was eventually dropped, but it underscored the risks and challenges of navigating brand partnerships in content that pushes societal norms. Real phone number. In an unusual move for television, Married with Children used a real Chicago area phone number for the Bundy residents. This led to an unexpected and likely unwelcome surprise for the actual owner of the number, who received many prank calls from fans of the show. This incident highlights the unforeseen consequences that can arise when fictional worlds intersect with reality, especially in a pre-internet age when such details could blur the lines between the two for enthusiastic fans. David Garrison's departure. David Garrison, who played Steve Rhodes, the Bundys' initial neighbor, left the show to return to his roots in Broadway theater. His departure was significant as it marked one of the show's first major cast changes, leading to the introduction of Ted McGinley as Jefferson Darcy. Garrison's exit and McGinley's entrance signaled a shift in the show's dynamics, including new storylines and relationships that would further develop the comedic landscape of the series. First Fox Network Primetime series. Married with Children holds the distinction of being the first primetime television series to air on Fox. This pioneering role was instrumental in establishing Fox as a major player in the American television landscape. The show's success proved that Fox could compete with the established networks, offering viewers an alternative to the traditional sitcom formula. The bold and unapologetic humor of Married with Children set the tone for the network's future programming, distinguishing Fox as a network willing to take risks and push boundaries in its entertainment offerings.
Oh, by the way, Bud has show and tell at school today. The subject is, what does Daddy do? So when you come home tonight, if there's a can of beer missing and you can't find the remote control, that's where they are.
Live show experiments. Married with Children experimented with live broadcasts, a rarity for sitcoms. This venture included performing an episode live twice, once for the East Coast and once for the West Coast audiences. These live episodes offered a unique experience, showcasing the cast's ability to perform under the direct scrutiny of a live audience. No finale. Despite its long and successful run, the show did not receive a traditional finale, leaving fans somewhat disappointed. The lack of a proper finale for Married with Children can be attributed to a combination of factors. Firstly, the show's cancellation came somewhat abruptly. The decision to end the series was made by the Fox network due to declining ratings and concerns over the show's controversial content. This decision left little time for the creators to craft a fitting conclusion. Secondly, there were reportedly creative differences between the show's creator, Michael G. Moy, and the network regarding how it should end. Moy envisioned a more poignant and meaningful finale, while Fox preferred to keep the tone consistent with the rest of the series, focusing on humor rather than sentimentality. As a result, the final episode, titled Chicago Shoe Exchange, aired on June 9, 1997, without much fanfare or closure for the characters. In this episode, the Bundy family finds themselves inadvertently caught up in a plan to exchange a rare pair of shoes stolen by a mobster. The plot unfolds in typical Bundy fashion, with absurd and comedic hijinks ensuing as they navigate the situation. Ultimately, the episode ends with the Bundy family returning home, seemingly unchanged and unscathed by their misadventures. There are no significant revelations or resolutions for these characters, leaving fans feeling somewhat unsatisfied. Despite its lack of a proper finale, it remains a beloved and influential sitcom, remembered for its irreverent humor, memorable characters, and willingness to push the boundaries of what was acceptable on television. Let's get into some bloopers from the show. A little laughter. Sometimes the actors on a sitcom can't help themselves and break out into laughter. After all, they're only human. And usually when that happens, the director has to yell cut because the actor has ruined a take. But especially when there's a live audience, it can bring levity and joy to the shoot. When an actor breaks, it's usually the stuff you see on a blooper reel later. But sometimes moments are salvageable. This can happen with clever editing, where we don't fully see one of the character's reactions. But sometimes even the best edits reveal a little something. This was certainly the case in You Better Watch Out, which was episode 13 of season 2. There's a moment when a mall Santa ends up in the backyard of the Bundy house. Naturally, everyone in the family looks back towards where Santa landed. But when they look back to the cameras, you can clearly see Ed O'Neill, aka Al Bundy, smiling. He admitted later he found the moment hilarious and was doing his best to only crack a smile. Airline tickets are pricier than pizza. Sometimes bloopers come in the form of plot holes where audiences are left wondering how something happened within the reality of the show. These moments are often hard for shows to avoid since there are so many moving parts and so many writers. And with multicam sitcoms that are filmed live in front of a live audience, there are many rewrites that happen in the moment. An actor will say a line, and if it doesn't make sense or doesn't get a big laugh, the writers huddle quickly. They'll pitch new lines and give the actors them to try. This can sometimes add up to mean plot holes. One such instance happened on the 17th episode of Season 4 called You Gotta Know When to Fold 'Em. In the ep, Al is strapped for cash when trying to buy a pizza. We already know that Peggy has maxed out Al's credit cards, so it makes sense that when he tries to use them to buy the pizza, he can't. But what doesn't make sense is Al is somehow able to buy 3 airline tickets from Chicago to Vegas. Suddenly the cards seem to work again. Terry Ricolta's revolt. Terry Ricolta was a mother who, on January 15th, 1989, decided to watch an episode of Married with Children with her kids. It was called Her Cups Runneth Over, and it was in the 3rd season of the show. So that means while the tone and nature of the show had been pretty firmly established by then, Ricolta was still unaware of it. She was immediately shocked and offended by the episode. After sending her kids out of the room 5 minutes in, she watched the rest on her own. She then compiled a laundry list of things she felt were offensive. This included things like an old man who wears a garter and stockings, a character, Steve, getting an implied erection while watching an adult movie, and when a character reveals her bare breasts to Al Bundy, though the nudity was implied, not real. She also took offense at a gay man with a tiara on, as well as a male stripper dancing in a G-string. She sprang into action the next day, starting with a letter-writing campaign to the show's sponsors. She wrote directly to the CEOs of 20 advertisers, not only threatening to boycott their business, but also accusing them of, quote, pandering to and supporting soft pornography. As a result, many of the advertisers decided to withdraw from their campaigns. This included major corporations like Coca-Cola, Mitsubishi Motors, Johnson & Johnson, and McDonald's. These companies also decided to make changes in their screening processes for potential advertising buys, so that future shows wouldn't bring them negative publicity. And they preemptively pulled their ad buys from future episodes of Married with Children as well. Procter & Gamble even name-checked Ricolta, putting out a statement that said they shared Miss Ricolta's interests in quality television programming. And the president of Coca-Cola even sent Ricolta a personal apology. Ricolta gained some fame and notoriety from the incident, appearing on shows like Nightline and being featured on the front page of the New York Times. Fox felt the pressure, so they decided to move the show's time slot to 30 minutes later, so it went from 8:30 to 9 p.m., when theoretically it would be seen mostly by adults. They also agreed to tone the raunch level down in upcoming seasons. The Ricolta boycott may have resulted in short-term changes, but ultimately it backfired. After a year, all the advertisers had returned because the publicity from the incident had made the show even more popular. I'll See You in Court. The most direct and notable effect of the campaign from Ricolta was that Fox decided to shelve an upcoming episode called I'll See You in Court. In the episode, Al and Peg Bundy book a hotel room for the two of them to enjoy a romantic excursion. Their hotel choice is a fairly cheap and scuzzy one, which leads to the main storyline of the ep. The room has an adult video and a VCR, so they decide to play the tape. To their shock and horror, they realize the couple in the video is actually their friends, Steve and Marcy. Eventually, they figure out that the hotel has been filming couples without their consent when they're alone in the rooms. The Bundys, along with Steve and Marcy, file suit. The motel claims it shouldn't even count as having sex on film, since it only lasts for a number of seconds. The climax, if you will, of the episode is when they try to prove it was indeed sex by having it again in the courtroom. And of course, they are filmed again because there are cameras in the courtroom. Fox, succumbing to the pressure of Ricolta's campaign and the loss of several advertisers, decided they would hold off airing the episode. At that point, it became known as the lost episode of Married with Children. It finally did air 13 years later when it was included in a DVD box set of the series. Ed and Amanda Bearse. During the early seasons of Married with Children, Ed O'Neill and Amanda Bearse reportedly got along well. They shared many scenes together and developed a rapport that translated into their characters' interactions. But as the show progressed and tensions began to arise, the relationship became strained at times. One notable incident that further strained the relationship occurred when Bearse got married in 1993. Despite their years of working together, O'Neill was not invited. This omission sparked rumors of a rift between the two. Despite any past conflicts or disagreements, both O'Neill and Bearse have spoken fondly of their time working together on the show. Most recently, Ed has said he thinks their feud stemmed originally from an issue with a magazine cover. On an episode of Jesse Tyler Ferguson's podcast Dinner on Me, Ed spoke about the issue. Quote, "I did a thing on the show that involved Amanda Bearse that I regretted. We didn't get along, but we did for a long time. We were great friends. And I could guess, I don't want to speak for her, but it started when we got the cover of TV Guide." According to Ed, Amanda wanted him to go to bat for her to be on the cover too. But Ed pushed back, saying TV Guide generally only featured the primary cast members, and it would be going too far to include the neighbors too. He feels like this was a big issue for Amanda in the years afterwards. Now it's time to hear from you. Who is your favorite Married with Children character? Let us know in the comments section below.